Seeds of Wisdom team, Newshounds News, just the facts. The world is changing. This is not news. It is the one constant throughout history. However, the current rate of change, the seismic shifts in power dynamics, have left many, particularly in Western intelligence agencies, profoundly unsettled. The old certainties, the established world order carefully constructed after World War II, are being challenged. This is not a sudden coup, but a gradual erosion, a slow but steady reshaping of the global landscape. For decades, organizations like the CIA and MI6 have operated within a certain paradigm. They were the guardians of the Western world, the protectors against rogue states and ideological enemies. Their intelligence gathering, their covert operations, were all geared towards maintaining a global system that favored the West. Now that system is under strain. The ground is shifting, and the old maps no longer correspond to the new terrain. This uncertainty breeds fear. It also breeds a desperate need to reassert control, to cling to the familiar narratives of the past. We see this in the pronouncements of Western leaders, in the pronouncements of the intelligence agencies themselves. There is a palpable sense of anxiety, a fear that the world is slipping from their grasp. The old tools of control, the economic leverage, the military might no longer seem as effective. The world is moving towards a multipolar reality. This is not a prediction, but a statement of fact. The rise of China, the resurgence of Russia, the growing assertiveness of the global South, all point towards a future where power is more diffuse, less concentrated in the hands of a select few. This is a future that unnerves many in the West, accustomed as they are to dictating the terms of global engagement. But it is a future that is coming nonetheless. The heads of the CIA and MI6, William Burns and Richard Moore respectively, are not known for their public pronouncements. These are men who operate in the shadows, their work shrouded in secrecy. Yet, in recent times, both men have felt compelled to step out of the shadows and voice their concerns about the state of the world. Their message has been stark, a clear warning about the challenges facing the West. Burns, speaking at a security forum in Aspen, Colorado, warned of a growing convergence of threats to the U.S. and its allies. He cited the resurgence of Russia, the rise of China, and the ongoing threat from terrorism as key challenges. He spoke of the need for the U.S. to reimagine its role in the world, to adapt to a new era of great power competition. Moore, in a rare public address, echoed Burns' concerns. He described the world as being at a point of inflection, a moment of profound change. He warned of the dangers of complacency, of clinging to the old ways of thinking. He called for a new era of espionage, one that was equipped to deal with the challenges of the 21st century. These are not the words of men who are confident in their grip on power. They are the words of men who sense that the ground is shifting beneath their feet, who fear that the world is moving in a direction they can no longer control. They are the words of men who are clinging to the old order, even as it crumbles around them. The pronouncements of Burns and Moore are not isolated incidents. They reflect a broader sense of anxiety within Western intelligence circles. This anxiety is fueled by a number of factors, including the perceived decline of American power, the rise of new global players, and the increasing difficulty of predicting and controlling events in a rapidly changing world. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, sparked by Russia's military operation in early 2022, has acted as a catalyst, accelerating many of the geopolitical trends that were already underway. It has exposed the fault lines in the international system, the limits of Western power, and the willingness of other nations to challenge the established order. For Western intelligence agencies, the conflict has been a rude awakening. It has shattered the illusion of Western invincibility, demonstrating that Russia, despite its economic weaknesses, is still capable of projecting military force and defying the West. The conflict has also exposed the limitations of Western intelligence, which failed to anticipate the timing or the scale of the Russian operation. Beyond the immediate military and intelligence implications, the conflict in Ukraine has had a profound impact on the broader geopolitical landscape. It has driven Russia and China closer together, strengthening their strategic partnership and their resolve to challenge Western hegemony. It has also emboldened other nations, particularly in the global South, to assert their own interests and to push back against Western pressure. The conflict in Ukraine has also highlighted the limits of Western economic power. The unprecedented sanctions imposed on Russia, while undoubtedly damaging, have failed to cripple the Russian economy or to force a change in policy. Moreover, the sanctions have had unintended consequences, fueling inflation and energy shortages in the West, and highlighting the West's vulnerability to economic weaponization. The current geopolitical flux is not simply about the decline of the West, but also about the rise of the rest. Emerging powers, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, are no longer content to be rule takers in a Western-dominated system. They are asserting their own interests, forging new alliances, and demanding a greater say in global affairs. This shift in power is being driven by a number of factors, including rapid economic growth, demographic shifts, and technological advancements. China, in particular, has emerged as a global powerhouse, challenging the United States in areas such as trade, technology, and military power. Other nations, such as India, Brazil, and Indonesia, are also playing an increasingly prominent role on the world stage. This rise of the rest is a direct challenge to the existing world order, which has long been dominated by the West. It is a challenge to Western economic dominance as emerging powers seek to rewrite the rules of global trade and finance. It is a challenge to Western political dominance as these nations demand greater representation in international institutions and a greater say in global decision-making. This challenge is playing out in a variety of ways, from trade wars and diplomatic spats to military buildups and proxy conflicts. It is a complex and multifaceted process, one that is still unfolding and that is likely to reshape the global landscape for decades to come. If you like the facts, follow the Seeds of Wisdom team